Coming up, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Marvel's What If. But before we get into any of that, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. Marvel Studios is heading into animation with a brand new series, What If, which is based on the comic book series of the same name, where every single episode is a single story which kind of asks the question, what if? Now, what this means is that now with the multiverse that we saw introduced in Loki, they can kind of go off on a complete tangent and do something completely different. There are some kind of rules in what they have to do. First off, they all have to be introduced inside of a Marvel movie. They can't have been introduced, for example, like X-Men or Wolverine or anything like that. They aren't in here. It's only stuff that has been introduced in the MCU. Now, every story has a kind of unique twist. The first episode we're going to be able to see on Wednesday, the 11th of August, is when Agent Carter becomes Captain Carter. She gets injected with the super serum instead of Steve Rogers, who ends up kind of becoming like an Iron Man with a big metal suit. And then she has to kind of run around kind of trying to save from World War II. She ends up going one-on-one with the Red Skull. And then there's also another big battle as well, which I wasn't expecting. It is also having to kind of showcase the fact that, you know, she's worthy of being a superhero, because obviously her superiors aren't too happy. I really enjoyed this whole episode. I thought this one was really cool. I also saw a second episode which saw T'Challa become Star-Lord. So when Yondu came down to Earth to pick up Peter Quill, he actually picked up T'Challa instead. And this sets off a whole new set of storyline where T'Challa is Star-Lord and he's completely known in the galaxy. He's got a lot more respect. You know, the Ravengers are a massive, great big group of people. There's a few people in here that you just weren't expecting, and I don't want to ruin it, but there is some really fun stuff in this episode. And there's also Chadwick Boseman's, his kind of final performance as Black Panther. It's just fantastic, you know, and this was a really, really great episode. And then there was a third episode which we see Nick Fury is trying to put together the Avengers. So this is kind of bringing together all of the early movies from the first phase, including Thor. We also have the Incredible Hulk and also Iron Man. So we see them bringing it all together, but something's going wrong and the Avengers aren't being put together in the way that we were hoping. And that's got a really weird twist to it. I'm really kind of enjoyed that one when I got to the end of it. I thought it was a little bit slow as we're going through like each of the movies and going, well, where are they going with this? What are they doing? And then once we get the twist, I really enjoyed this one. So the art style is a little bit different. It took me a while to kind of gel to it. I think by the time I got into the second episode, I was completely hooked. And, you know, it's a little bit different. It wasn't exactly how I probably would have imagined it, but it does work. It does look kind of like the movies. It's very much different than what we've seen, for example, with Lucasfilm, with like Star Wars, The Clone Wars, or with The Bad Batch. These are all individual stories, and they completely just go off on a tangent. We're going to have 9 episodes in the first season. There's already been another 9 announced, and hopefully there'll be more. I can't see a reason why not. The stories are just infinite. They're just going to keep going and going and going, because they can just change so much, and it kind of allows them to play around with some of the characters that we maybe can't see in the real life movies because of contracts and, you know, negotiations. Because we can still see characters like Iron Man and Captain America in here interacting with the characters that we love. But they can kind of do it a little bit differently, because ultimately they can just change the voice actor. Not ideal. Most of the original casts are in here, but there's a few things that aren't. But for me, I just really enjoyed this series. I can't wait for everyone to watch it. I'm going to be tuning in every single Wednesday to watch new episodes. I've been a big fan of the What If comic books since way back since I was a kid. I used to love being able to go into a comic book store, pick up a What If, because I knew that it didn't matter. It didn't matter if I, you know, read a comic book or if I knew anything, because it was a self-contained story. And so each episode is a self-contained story, and I definitely think that is a great thing moving forward. But I'd love to know if you're excited about Marvel's What If in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Also, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.